welcome to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to talk about whether you need an extra degree or not. So if you're not aware and you don't follow me on Instagram, I recently graduated with a master's degree and I've had a plethora of questions regarding why I did my master's degree or how I manage the finances. And essentially today I'm going to be answering all of those questions. I'm an international graduate. My undergraduate degree is not from the UK. When I came to the country, I realized that I lack a lot of certain skills which are required, and I wasn't taught them in my undergraduate degree. These included critical appraisals, research projects, grants, that kind of stuff, which essentially you get to do when you're in a first world country. There is research work everywhere in the world, but obviously I did not have that exposure where I was studying, and when I came here I realized that this is something that I lacked and I would like to learn. This included statistics, by the way, as well, because we were taught a module about stats and it was not that great. So I actually lacked that aspect as well. So that's the reason why I wanted to do my master's, because a lot of people have been asking this question. So yeah, let's talk about why people do an extra degree. Not my reasoning, because I've already given mine. We're going to talk about the facts and some figures as well, because you need to have money to be doing an extra degree while working. So the first thing about a master's degree is essentially why you want to do it. As I mentioned, my reasoning, you should be having a reason behind it. It could just be to gain points in a training number, because I know some very competitive specialties like cardiology, people even do PhDs before applying for their training numbers in cardiology, because apparently it's very tough. So yeah, that is one of the reasons that a lot of people tend to do masters or PhDs. There's also reasoning such as where you want to learn certain things which you feel like you didn't learn. Like, for example, in my case, I did it for those reasonings. There are people doing masters for simulations. They're doing in artificial intelligence, that kind of stuff. And there are medics, by the way, who are doing these kind of masters because they want to gain certain skills. So there obviously is this reason where you do a master's to learn a certain aspect of things that you feel like you don't know. And the third aspect is where you want to enter this, this group, this place, this alumni of people who have an extra degree. And I have known and met all kinds of people who have had various reasonings of why they've done their masters. And I think they're all justified. Let's talk about the finances. So if you're somebody who is like me on an international visa, then a master's is something that you really need to think about before you kind of jump into it, because not only is it something that's going to take a lot of time and effort from you, especially because you're learning a new skill, and obviously there's going to be exams, there's going to be eventually a dissertation at the end, there's a lot of research involved if you want to do a research master's, that kind of stuff. So it's a lot of time and effort that you have to put in. It's not something that you're just going to get just because you've enrolled into one. The other thing that you need to think about is the finances of it, because as I said, if you're an international person and on a visa, it's going to be very, very expensive. It's going to be triple the amount of a British citizen. So it is a very big commitment in terms of both your mental capabilities and also your financial status. I did my master's when I was doing my trust grade F2 post, and as I said, I wanted to learn certain things which I felt like I was lacking in, and I did it part-time because I wanted to finance my own master's. And then I went and searched, and I did a lot of, I wouldn't call it research, because if you actually do a master's then you know what research is, but you're basically searching the internet to find out which master's program is best for you, which skills are you wanting to learn. There's a lot of kind of planning behind what you exactly want to do, how it should affect your portfolio, or how it would, kind of give you certain skills which you don't have or you lack, or maybe just give you a boost in your CV if that's exactly what you want from your master's. So we're going to break down these three sort of aspects of a master's degree, and then obviously you can make your decision where you want to do it. The first up is the financial bit. Right, so when you're searching, you need to think about how much money you have, how much you're willing to invest in yourself, and if you are willing to do it in a way that you are able to finish it in, say, for example, 2 years. The least possible time you can do a master's in would be 2 years if you are doing it part-time, because full-time means you can't work and obviously then you can't pay. So these are certain things that you need to think about, especially if you are somebody who is, doing everything for themselves. I searched mine and I wanted essentially an online master's, a fully online master's, because that's the only way I could have managed to do a full-time job, so that my master's is part-time and online. So that is what you're going to be searching for. I think we've jumped into the next bit of the section of how to search for it. Basically, when you're thinking about your finances, you need to think about, yes, how much am I going to pay, but also whether it's an online, whether it's part-time, whether you have to travel to that university a lot. All of that comes into play when you're thinking about your finances. The positive thing about all of this, the financial bit, is that the universities here are not like where I'm from, where you have to pay and there's no sort of like a leverage or anything. If you talk to your uni and say, look, I want to pay my fees in 4 installments or 5 installments, yeah, they are very happy to accept that. So when you're planning your finances, you can talk to your university, or you can talk to all the universities and see which one is the most flexible. I chose mine because they were the most flexible with their online setup. They never wanted me to ever come to the university during my master's program. They also are very flexible with the installment system, so I didn't have to take a loan. I was earning and I was paying it off as I went along the entire year, so I was never in debt, because it was a cut up fees and I never had to sort of struggle to pay, because I asked them to divide it over the year and they did. What should your master's be in? This is not something that I could tell you, oh, you should do your master's into this particular subject. I would suggest, if you really want to do one, you should have a good reasoning of why you want to do it. And again, if it's skill learning, then any master's would do, which kind of encompasses what you want to learn. But if you are sort of going into a field thinking this master's is going to give you some leverage over other people, then essentially not, because in the UK, you can't do a master's and become a lecturer or a professor or anything. You still have to do a PhD. And a master's is a later step to the academic side of the world. So if you are somebody who's inclined academically, which I am, for me, it seemed like something that, it's going to give me a lot of confidence, a lot of skills, that particular mindset which I wanted to have. And thankfully, alhamdulillah, yes, I'm very happy with my decision that I did it. But as again, I said, the dissertation part is actually very hard to do, especially if you're doing a research master's, which I did. And it takes a lot out of you. So when you're searching for what you want to do your master's in, please keep in mind not to just take up a trendy topic. It should be something that you're really, really passionate about, because when it comes to dissertation and the research bit, it will take everything out of you to actually be able to do it. Lastly, I want to talk about the training aspect of things and how it worked out for me and how it usually is very, very difficult. Basically, I went from trust grade to training and salary went into half. And I obviously was needing to fill up my portfolio bits as well. Things became quite difficult. This last year has been a lot in terms of doing a master's, also doing my training. But at the end of the day, I've got several publications out of it. I'm quite confident in doing my own critical appraisals now. It has helped me understand research in a way that I've never understood it before. So at the end of the day, I feel like, yes, it is something that people should consider if they are academically inclined, if they are wanting to learn things that they've never learned before. Because if you haven't done those things, it's quite hard to get a hold of the academic side of things. And I am really happy that I actually went through it and I did it. Yeah, before you actually think that, oh, you know what, it's going to give me points on my training, post or number or whatever, you should think about how much effort goes into it and how much investment is required. Not just money, which I've obviously mentioned quite clearly in this video, but it also requires a lot of time and effort and a mental capacity requirement. And if you're doing it while in training, it's going to take a lot out of you and you need to be really, really committed to what you're doing. The only good part that I would say in UK is that for every single degree here, which is something, this is amazing to me that they do this, but you can actually freeze your master's. So if you've jumped the gun and you're in a master's and it's too overwhelming for you and you're unable to do it, don't quit. just freeze it and you can get back to it when you feel like you can get back to it. And yeah, essentially that is my guidance on, do you need an extra degree, how you should go about it, how you should search about it, what are the aspects that you should think about before jumping onto a second degree. It's not just a pin on your coat which you're going to put on. It requires a lot of commitment, and it is an incredible thing to go through. But again, you have to be really, really sure whether you really want to do it or not. So I hope that you guys found this video helpful. Have a good day, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.